Hello, I'm Jaecen, and I'm starting my own fashion brand. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome lukewarm water into this world. Here's his birth certificate. We always ship our clothes wet, but hey, you'll buy it for the logo, right?
Finally, that t-shirt I ordered arrived. Why is it wet?
You ever look at the Baskin-Robbins logo and say, holy shit, is that a number? Logos are supposed to catch your attention, while at the same time be easy to understand. It can be a tough balancing act between the two, so most of the time, companies just puke one out. The gaming industry is infamous for this. Like, what the hell is that? That can be a skincare product. But when a logo hits that sweet spot of being distinct and easy to digest, it hits that spot. So, today we're going to be looking at some console logos throughout video game history, and yes, before you ask, I do get a note off the Tostitos logo. Ah, Nintendo. They always innovate and change with every new console release. I mean, compare the competition's logos and compare all of Nintendo's. They're different. Nintendo's first couple of logos aren't anything to write home about. I mean, with a name like Nintendo Entertainment System, there's only so much left to the imagination. Though I do like the Super Famicom's logo, with how these circles on the left are supposed to represent the Y and B buttons being covered by your thumb. Too bad America got this though. This can be a great logo for a pizza company, but this looks as hideous as the console itself. Why not purple? Or better yet, don't make it look like a wire rack with acne. Thankfully, Nintendo got their act together. The N64 pops out to me. This logo is bold and, yes, unfortunately, the allegations are true. It's 3D. Out of all the people! One of the coolest tidbits about it is, if you make the logo a 3D object, it has exactly 64 faces and vertices. Imagine that on a human. The GameCube's logo feels like it's going through a phase, but I like it. This purple, bluish, grayish area is shaped like a capital G, the negative space inside is shaped like a capital C, and both of the letters are surrounding a cube. Now, that's pretty cute. And look at the font! It's very different compared to other Nintendo consoles. It feels very mature in a sense. And if you claim you've never seen heaven before, you're lying. Watch this. Yes! God, this logo slaps. And this logo should be slapped. If Nintendo still wonders why this thing barely sold, just look at this. Okay, the original Wii logo isn't bad, it's just there, you know. It's there in the same way that the Wii just sits there collecting dust on your shelf, but the Wii U feels like you added a sticky note to Grandma's ashes. I can't think of a way to improve the logo without changing the name of the console first. A lot of people still think that this is just an add-on for the Wii and this logo isn't helping. Like Christ, Wii U? This thing could have been named a Nintendo MaxiPad and it would have sold more units. Doesn't Nintendo do like portable consoles or something? Oh, I thought this was a scallop! Alright, the Game Boy line has some pretty cool logos that all add on to each other. The original feels clean. It's a classic logo. Just a huge bold font that screams at you. It's not cluttered or filled with text, it just tells you what the thing is. Their next console, the Game Boy Pocket, adds on to what was established with the first logo. The word pocket is smaller and wrapped in a box here, signifying that this thing was gonna be puny. And honestly, this logo can be a modern day high fashion brand and it would sell out in seconds. The Game Boy Color logo though? Yeah, this looks like 10 minutes a Kid Pix was spent making this thing. I mean, it's alright, but when it's stacked like this, it doesn't look all too hot. Why not center the Game Boy logo? And what the hell is this font? I guess they're trying to go for the whole marker aesthetic, but this font makes it look like a Fisher-Price toy. I don't like this logo. But at least the GBA's is a step up. It uses a font similar to the GameCube's logo, and with this being a maturation of the Game Boy line, this logo makes sense to me. I mean, it looks the most dated now, and when it's stacked like this, the lack of weight on the right kills me, but otherwise, good job Nintendo. Now for the Nintendo DS. Similar story to the Game Boy here, Nintendo adds on to what was established with the first logo. Oh, I love the original DS's logo. Look at the O at the end, it looks like the two screens that the DS uses. It looks so submissive and breathable. With every subsequent DS upgrade, they would just keep adding and adding and adding and oh my god, this is too much. Alright, Christ, what happened here? Okay, so you used the Amiibo font for the word new here, you already added a number, and you tacked on 2 letters to it. Look at the staircase of a logo. It completely takes away from the clean image that the DS line was going for. It's way too much. At least the Switch logo is slick though. It feels like a modern take on something like the GameCube's logo. The Joy-Cons here are front and center, as they're the most important part of the console. The way that they line up above the words Nintendo, it just feels so clean to me. And my god, when this logo is in motion... Yeah! SEGA! Oh, Sega's logos. Alright, Sega didn't get their logo design right until the Genesis. These feel like I'm reading the instruction manuals for the articles. But the Master System logo was the logo that turns me into a question mark the most. God, the kerning! What the fuck? And don't get me started on the packaging of this damn thing. I'm sure the boys over in Brazil love this stuff, but grid paper? Serif font? Am I writing a thesis on Alf? Yeah, Sega, the guys known for squares and Penguin Land. God, this console's branding sucks. At least the Genesis is a step up. Sega does retain the grid paper look with the first iteration here, but black fits so much better with the edgier aesthetic that the Genesis has. I mean, to be fair, anything can beat the middle school math class doodles that the Master System has going on. It can only go up from here. Such a sharp looking font. Is it trying to kill me? Oh, this screams of people who designed Vector the Crocodile. I do like how edgy the Genesis aesthetic is, but this was only temporary, as Sega did redesign the look of the Genesis midway through its life. Alright, we have a short history lesson to give here. Now, Sega was a crazy company back then, and when I say crazy, I mean releasing 2 add-ons for their aging console crazy. The Sega CD and the Sega 32X, some of history's most infamous consoles ever. Sega essentially gave the Genesis plastic surgery by adding all this unnecessary crap to it, and my god, it never needed it! The Genesis was already pretty! These add-ons failed. Hard. They were like adding hot sauce to a pepper. But, you know, at least the Sega CD logo is pretty good. Sega finally hired some competent graphic designers with that Genesis money, and does it ever show here. It's so basic, but the way that the C and D form to make a disc is genius. How is this not the logo for the medium of CDs as a whole? This is so cute! And then they fucked it all up with the 32X logo. 32Xs, that's a lot of them.
You think they have commitment issues?
This logo looks like knockoff soda. This big, ugly, stupid gap between the 2 and the X is so big, ugly, and stupid. And this font choice, man. I guess the serifs and the drop shadows here are supposed to give it depth and a dash of whimsicalness. But when you advertise your consoles having sex to form a mega console, all forms of whim are gone. Now, technically, this aesthetic didn't start with the 32X. I'm just making it take the blame because it's a piece of shit. It did start with the Genesis. Sega made the Genesis and its add-ons have consistent branding with each other. This candy cane striped packaging was in now, with the Genesis being red, the CDs blue, and the 32X is yellow. At the end of the day though, I still vastly prefer the future retro look of the original Genesis packaging. It had a lot more character and charm to it. One that screamed, "Guys, I bought this thing for Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, my parents never loved me." The 32X did more damage to Sega than cereal does to the roof of my mouth. But at least it's not the Sega Saturn.
How did we get here?
I'm having a hard time trying to figure out if I like this logo or not. Like, a ball and a spring, that's better than 32? The American logo feels kinda cheap to me. Rounded thin fonts like this never do anything for me aesthetically. But the Japanese logo, it feels elegant, you know? It's the S, man. If it were any other color or size, I wouldn't feel this way. I like how this part of the logo looks, but the logo bug itself is kinda questionable, don't you think? But Sega axes Saturn faster than they axe my kid. Last is the Dreamcast logo, though you wouldn't know it was made by Sega at first glimpse. I mean, yeah, if I made the 32X and Saturn back to back, I would want to drop my name for this shit too. The Saturn's logo felt like an older perspective on elegance, while the Dreamcast logo has a very modern twist to it. Even to this day, it really represents what Sega was all about in this era. It was a clean start for them, and this logo reflects on that. This spiral is the only thing here, representing the game spinning in the disk drive. It was games or nothing for this console, and this light orange is a very inviting color. If you're American or Japanese, for Europeans it's blue. It feels relaxing in a way, and that startup screen, man. The way that the letters just dance along to the jingle is so calming. The perfect entrance music for getting into the world of something like Crazy Taxi. I think this is one of the most influential pieces of graphic design ever. This is minimalism done correctly. And then there's Sony. Look, there's nothing wrong with the mentality of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but can you at least add sparkles or something? Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. The original PlayStation logo was great. These colors are so 90s, yet they feel like they can fit in today's graphic design climate. The way that the S is perpendicular to the P, come on! If that isn't peak design, then this blueprint of my house is. The PlayStation 2 logo is much more minimal. The square font and blue gradient can be a turnoff to some today, but in the year 2000, this felt like a digital portal into the future. And the absolute annihilation of your competition. Now for the PS3, that could be a portal into hell. Yeah, the original PS3 logo, in my opinion, is ugly. The Spider-Man comparisons have been done to death, but to me this can be a logo for a train or something. You know at the bottom of game commercials, they usually show what consoles the game's gonna be on in fine print? Well, in 2006, barely anyone had an HD TV, so the readability on this font is horrid. It's so thin, squished together, and it's put in italics. We're 3 for 3 on my cataracts test. Sony did acknowledge this though, and redesigned the logo in 2009. You may be thinking it's a PS3 logo that was used until the end of the console's life, but there was this bastard half step in between. Christ, I don't know what's worse. Spider-Man is back in full force, but this time in bold. Try squinting your eyes when you see this logo. It looks like a barely legible blob of text. But that didn't last long though, as we got this one here. And we still got this one here. For the PS3, I understand why they changed the logo. I mean, you only just made the best-selling home console of all time, so it makes sense to have a logo similar to the PS2's. A lot of people don't point out how close these two logos are. I mean, yeah, it's pretty obvious at a glance, but it's much more nuanced than that. Where the PS2's logo was squared off to match the console, the PS3's is much more rounded, not only matching the console, but refining the edges of its predecessor. As for the PS4, Sony wanted to maintain the streak they had going with the PS3, as it did barely beat the Xbox 360 sales-wise. Again, it's not that different, but it matches the identity the PS4 has. But for the PS5 though, why are you using this again? This logo feels dated now, and it's only 12 years old. And yeah, again, that whole thing about maintaining the streak of success and continuing the branding, yada yada yada, but this is so boring! For a console that's so striking design-wise as a PS5, this does not reflect on what it's all about. I mean, this thing is so advanced. It's white and it has a microphone on it. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't know how to redesign this thing at all, but at least put a gradient on it or something. This is so meh. God, alright, let's go check out Microsoft to see if they're doing any better. Are you kidding me? Now, I never grew up with an Xbox console at all, so my opinion may be an unfair evaluation. Like, you could tell me this first logo was for energy drinks and I'd believe in you. The logo for the Xbox 360 though, I mean, it's not bad, but it doesn't really make me feel anything, you know? Like, ooh, do I get a loaf of sourdough bread with my Xbox? But they did change it to this, and what am I supposed to look for here? Yeah, a flat logo. You aren't a modern company without a flat logo. And ever since then, nothing has changed. Literally nothing. Like, that loaf of sourdough is getting stale, you know? But hey, at least the Sirius X logo is something you look twice before you swipe left at. The word Sirius is flipped to a vertical orientation, and X is next to it. It looks like a Roman numeral 9, signifying that this is the 9th generation of gaming. That's so cute! I want to pinch its cheeks and name it Dylan or something! What number is Sirius S supposed to be then? I mean, these two logos side by side, they're actually pretty good. They definitely have a lot more character than their previous attempts, and I think Microsoft is on a good track here. They even cleaned up their game cases. Take notes, Sony! As you can see, logos are important. As a part of branding and a console's identity, it's a huge factor to take into consideration. Why do you think Sriracha sells millions while the Virtual Boy didn't? An audience, a name, a logo, and aesthetic, they're all tiny pieces of one huge puzzle that is marketing. And Sega chewed on all the pieces, Sony and Microsoft did it normally, and Nintendo?
Is the last piece of merch we're gonna ship. See, I'm telling you, anyone will buy anything with our logo on it. We're gonna be the next big thing to line up for. I even got this fancy letter from the government here. The president's probably wearing all my clothes. We're getting shut down for child labor.